Breakfast time, Acts 18. And after this Shaul left Athens and went to Corinth. And he found a certain Yehudi named Aquilus, born in Pontus, who had recently come from Italy with his wife Priscilla, because Claudius had commanded all the Yehudim to leave Rome, and he came to them. And because he was of the same trade, he stayed with them and was working, for they were tent makers by trade. And he was reasoning in the congregation every Sabbath, and won over both Yehudim and Greeks. And when Silas and Timotheus came down from Macedonia, Shaul was pressed by the Spirit, and earnestly witnessed to the Yehudim that Yeshua is the Messiah. However, when they resisted and blasphemed, he shook his garments and said to them, "Your blood is upon your head. I am clean. From now on I shall go to the nations." And having left there, he came to the house of a certain man named Justus, who worshipped Elohim, whose house was next to the congregation. And Crispus, the ruler of the congregation, did believe in the Master with all his household, and many of the Corinthians hearing believed and were immersed. And the Master spoke to Shaul in the night by a vision. "Do not be afraid, but speak, and do not be silent, because I am with you, and no one shall attack you to do you evil, because I have much people in this city." And he remained 1 year and 6 months, teaching the word of Jehovah among them. And when Gallien was proconsul of Achaia, the Yehudim with one mind rose up against Shaul and brought him to the judgment seat, saying, "This one does seduce men to worship Elohim contrary to the Torah." And as Shaul was about to open his mouth, Gallien said to the Yehudim, "If it were a matter of wrongdoing or wicked recklessness, O Yehudim, there would be reason why I should bear with you. But if it is a question of words and names and a law which is among you, see to it yourselves, for I do not wish to be a judge of these matters." And he drove them away from the judgment seat. And all the Greeks took Sosthenes, the ruler of the congregation, and beat him before the judgment seat. But Gallien showed no concern whatever. And Shaul, having stayed several days more, having taken leave of the brothers, was sailing for Syria, and Priscilla and Aquilus were with him. Having shaved his hair at Cenchrea, for he had taken a vow. And he came to Ephesus and left them there, but he himself went into the congregation and reasoned with the Yehudim. And when they asked him to stay a longer time with them, he declined, but took leave of them, saying, "I have to keep this coming festival in Yerushalayim by all means, but I shall come back to you, Elohim desiring so." And he sailed from Ephesus. And having come to Caesarea, going up and greeting the assembly, he went down to Antioch. And having spent some time there, he went forth, passing through the country of Galatia and on through Phrygia, strengthening all the taught ones. And a certain Yehudi named Apollos, born of Alexandria, a learned man and a mighty in the scriptures, came to Ephesus. This one had been instructed in the way of the Master, and being fervent in spirit, he was speaking and teaching the matters about the Master exactly, though he knew only the immersion of Yohanan. And he began to speak boldly in the congregation, And when Aquilus and Priscilla heard him, they took him aside and explained to him the way of Elohim more exactly. And when he intended to pass through to Achaia, the brothers, having encouraged him, wrote to the taught ones to receive him, who, having arrived, greatly helped those who believed through favor. For the power he refuted the Yehudim publicly, showing from the scriptures that Yeshua is the Messiah.